All right. So this is going to be episode 1 of the Oldies Activities, and this is going to be about Flyball. And as our Flyball participant, subject matter person, we have Miss Hannah from Mechanical Bulldogs. I keep thinking Mechanical Bull, like the thing at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so we're very interested. I'm very interested in Flyball and how you got started with it and what made you see that and say, like, I'm gonna do that with my bulldog.
So I always thought it was interesting. You know, you always see border collies and border whippets and the sport mixes. And I had an Aussie, but he didn't come from a good breeder, so he was kind of nervy. And I knew I could never do it with him. And Piston is the most ball drivey dog I've ever seen, like more than a lab, more than anything else. And so I told my husband, I was like, I think he could do this. And so I looked up Flyball clubs. There's only 3 in South Carolina. So I looked up, and it took a few times to try and get to a practice because it's an hour and 15 minutes away. So finally got to a practice. Well, our captain forgot her keys. So we just kind of did a meet and greet the first time. And I know when I pulled up and they saw him, they were like, there's no way this dog is ever going to run. And so we ended up starting practice, and he was full in a china shop because all he had was ball drive. He did not have, I mean, he had training, basic obedience, but it was just having to break that drive was very difficult. And it still is a lot of work to this day. But now he knows, like, hey, I need to drop my ball for the tug. I need to do this so I can run again.
Yeah. So what's his one thing I'm curious about, was his first instinct to jump the hurdles, or did he try to just run through them?
He was tunnel vision. It didn't matter what was in front of him. He was going to get that ball. And it was a beeline straight. So those hurdles are right. The jumps are right in front of the box. So it didn't matter if they were in his way. He was going to the box to get the ball. He never, and to this day, I think he's missed the jumps maybe once or twice. And that's something some dogs, like Rhea, I'm having to work with her because she wants to miss her last jump, especially when she sees another dog coming into her. She'll dodge that last jump and go around it. And that's a you have to rerun when a dog does that.
Okay.
So he's very consistent, very solid. His only flaw is his box turn.
Yeah. So it was the ball drive that you seen in him that made you say, let's try this.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. I know I've always been like fascinated when I seen the videos of this particular sport, but I never knew what to call it. I just called it the relay race. Like, I didn't know that actually even the name was Flyball. So that's another thing that made me want to do this, because it's cool. It's cool. I dig it thoroughly, but like, if you don't even know what to call it, how do you know where to go get started? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are the organizations that sanction your events, or how does that work?
So we have UFly, which I don't run UFly, so I'm not real keen on the rules for that one. But what we run is NAFA, North American Flyball Association. And you can go to their website. They have a whole bar of tabs where you can look and see, you can look up clubs. So you type in your state and it pulls up clubs. And normally there's only around 3 or 4 clubs in the state. I know our region, we have North Carolina, Virginia, and South Carolina, and there are several in North Carolina. But that's the easiest way to get there. And then I normally reach out to somebody. Most people have Facebook, so you can send them a Facebook message. So you can send them a Facebook message and just kind of chit chat. And most people, well, everybody in our region now knows Piston. So I actually have a couple people that are interested in puppies off of him. So just to have a different off breed.
Yeah, there's no way to not know he's there.
Yeah, no.
Because all the other, like you said, the collies, whippet mixes and things, and then there's a bulldog.
Yeah.
You know.
And so we're planning. Hopefully, I wanted to go this year, but I'm not gonna be able to swing it. But there's a tournament, and it's like the daddy of them all. It's the biggest tournament in the United States, and it's called Can-Am. So people actually come from Canada to run in this tournament, and they have 10 rings. So you have 20. I think it's either 7 or 10, but you have 2 teams per lane or per ring, and so you can have up to 6 dogs per team. So when you sit there and look at how many dogs are going to be running at one time, it's a lot.
It's crazy.
But I do really want to.
And then
so want to go to that one.
You said 6 dogs per team?
Yeah. Well, you have 6 dogs that can run, and then you can rotate out what dogs are running. So you normally have 3 to 5 heats, and it's normally best of 5 or 3 of 5s. So if a team wins 2 and then the other team wins 1, you run another heat, and if the first team wins that heat again, then the race is over. But sometimes you do have to run 5 heats.
Okay, so when you train your dog for this, when you train your dog for this, do you work on hurdles? Like just a straight fetch with straight line hurdles, and then box turns separate, or do you practice it all in one motion?
So normally when you're starting a dog, the biggest thing that our team focuses on, which is what the team should be focusing on, is the box turn. So you start with we start with a yoga mat, and you lay the yoga mat flat, and you just have your dog go around. And well, I guess I should say you start out throwing a ball and seeing what direction your dog turns. So you throw the ball 10 times, and whatever way your dog turns the most is more their dominant side. And the way your dog turns is the most dominant side. So that's what you start shaping your box turn with. And so you'll take you'll take, and I didn't get to do this with Piston. I just kind of ran into it. And so you sit there and you take a treat or whatever, and you just practice that motion, just muscle memory. And then you take a hit it board, and you sit the hit it board flat, and it's probably about 3 inches off the ground, and you just practice getting the dog on the hit it board. And then you slowly raise it to where it's at an angle, and then you practice getting your dog up high. And then you add the ball to Velcro. Yeah, the jumps ain't even in the picture right now. And so you add the ball to the hit it board with Velcro, and get them doing that constant muscle memory. And then you take the hit it board and you trigger it. So when the dog touches it, they hear that pop when the springs release. And so that scares a lot of dogs, so it'll set them back. So you have to build their confidence back up. And Piston, he doesn't care. It doesn't bother him. Nothing bothers him. And tunnel vision. And so it's been a learning curve. And, Whippets and other breeds are very soft, whereas Bulldogs are not near as soft.
No.
So there's a lot of things that Piston went through that a lot of dogs struggle with, and he just blazed right through it. Which there's only one Piston, but he like Rhea, we went to a tournament and they changed the thrusters in the box, which are what makes the popping noise, and it scared her. So I had to spend the whole tournament triggering the box, treating her, treat her, so she got used to the noise and build her confidence back up. So it's a lot of go forward, something happens, got to go backwards, rebuild on that foundation, go forward again. And it takes at least a year to train a dog. And then once you get them on the box and you get them consistent with their turn, you add one jump in, and then you keep that turn. then you add another jump, keep that turn, and it's a bunch of tiny little things that you just build on. But we do power jumps where we set all the jumps up in a row, and sir, he's like, I want to talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so we set a lot of all the jumps up in a row, and we call that power jumping, so that it just builds the endurance up.
Yeah. I like that. That's a good time. Sounds a lot of work, but the turn is definitely the most involved part.
Yeah, it's the most important to keep from injury. That's the biggest thing and that's the reason Piston only runs part-time, because he might run 5 heats and have 1 or 2 good box turns. So he only runs like 3 of the 6 races that we have the whole weekend, just because I don't want him to get hurt. I want him to be able to run as long as he can.
Right. So how long did you have oldies before you came across this?
Piston was my first oldie. So
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Right out of the box.
He do what?
Right out of the box.
Right out of the box. Right out of the box. My husband actually picked him out.
Yeah.
So I have to give my husband credit on picking him.
Okay.
And he had
so is this
before we got together.
So is the flyball abilities and the traits that you need for that, is that stuff that you guys have breed to and towards and for, or is that just something fun you do at Piston? Yeah.
Yeah, I want to try to breed very athletic dogs, and I have me and a couple other breeders have the same ideas, and I really like their dogs, and so we've actually bred together several times, and they've been some nice quality dogs that are all around family and sport, and have that drive, but also have that off switch you need to have a good family dog.
Yeah. Okay. And as far as their structure, their build, what's the important? I imagine the rear angulation, good knees.
Yeah. So just the whole dog. I mean, and they're not very heavy. Nares are very important to me. Pallets are very important to me. Not as much wrinkle, but definitely still enough to have head type. They're more moderate. They're more of the moderate oldies.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. That's awesome. And then you said there's what's Freya? You said is the name of your female?
Rhea.
Rhea. Okay. And how old is she? How long has she been doing it?
So she just turned a year old in February. And she has been going to tournaments since she was about 10 weeks old. So after she had her 3rd set of shots, she was on the road with us, and that's a big thing with flyball is getting them exposed. And it was funny, the first time I took her to a show, she was nervous because it was so quiet, because she was used to going somewhere and it just being chaos, and then she was looking around like, why is nobody barking? I don't understand. So I definitely desensitized her to the noise, but not the quiet.
Got you. So then the collies and stuff like that, they're pretty excitable with these events.
Oh yeah. They and they'll be staring like Piston. When I line him up, he's looking at the box, and that's what you want. You want that focus. And some of those dogs, they're so intense. They're just staring him down, and he's intense. So a lot of dogs, it jacks them up. There are people, because we race with the same teams, and so there's a lot of people that are like, I love running against Piston because my dog always gets their next personal best because he's so jacked up. And it jacks it. It's crazy the atmosphere change, especially when he comes in, because all the dogs, they just and for him to stay so calm as far as mentally. That's a big thing for me too, is the neutrality of him and Rhea. They don't care if there's an intact male right beside him barking in their face, or intact female, and that's a big thing with our breed too. I think is a lot of people kind of ignore the dog, the same sex aggression, And I
Mm-hmm.
know it's impossible to breed out, but it's definitely something that I want to focus on, just breeding neutral dogs. And a lot of times there's so much mental stimulation, even when they're a veteran dog, that we always, like, I bought soft crates that have the sides that you can lift up and down, and so I normally
Mm-hmm.
just normally keep his crate covered. I keep her crate covered, that way they can really rest when they need to rest,
Yeah.
because we start, like, we normally get there at 7 a.m. We start racing at 8, and sometimes it's 6 o'clock before we get done. So they're mentally stimulated all 12 of those hours, even when they're covered up. And
It's a long day.
yeah, it's a long day. When we get back to the Airbnb or the hotel, they're out. They eat their dinner, they go to the bathroom, and they're out. And then you get to do it again the next.
Yeah, this video we're gonna show it as show it the first time during the IWBA dog show. You know what I mean? And I have this thing about me, like, same thing with dog shows. It's a long day.
It's a very long, and it takes a lot out of a dog. People don't realize, they think they can just roll up without a crate, without anything, and the dog gets tired, and then they get snappy like we do.
Yeah. Hopefully not like I do. Yeah. So it's the temperament's super important with this.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be the right dog, mentally and physically.
Yeah.
So, like I said, temperament's important. The physical of the dog, the pheno of the dog is very, very important. Has to lend itself to this type of thing. And then when somebody wants to get started, you said find a club.
Yep, find a club.
One more time, the organizations to look for, or how to go about finding a club.
North American Flyball Association. And then there would be a row of tabs on the left side of the screen, and you'll just go in. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically find a club in your area and get the names of the captains and just shoot them a message.
Yeah. Are they pretty? They're pretty open, pretty welcoming.
Our region is. I can't say about other regions. I've kind of heard some horror stories, but it's the same with everything. You have a bunch of bad apples sometimes, but our region is really, really cool. And it depends on the team. Like, some teams, they're there to win. So, their whole team is border collies and whippets and, the super fast 3-second dogs. Our team's there to have fun. And that's kind of a big thing that I enjoy with Flyball, is if your team does good and your dog does good, and everybody keeps it clean, you keep it in the correct time frame, your dog gets points. So it doesn't matter, and then you can get extra points if you place in the tournament, but you're still rewarded for the hard work you put in.
Okay, so where do Pistons times kind of fall in or compare? How do they compare with the other breeds?
So of course he's not going to be a 3-second dog. He's a mid to high 4. I think his fastest time was a 4.5, which is pretty fast. Like, that's your Aussie times. Low 4, mid 4s are Aussies. Like, he's one of the faster dogs on our team, surprisingly. We have Gordon setters, we have Tollers, golden retrievers, mixed breeds. We have a cattle dog. We have a Staffy bull who just joined our team. There's a bunch of staff.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's a ton, because they're little, and they're very quick too. So there's one guy, he has like 3 or 4 Staffy bulls. There's a deaf Frenchie on another team. And then there's one lady, she has 3 generations of Boston Terriers that run. So you can do it with any breed. It's really dog dependent.
That's awesome. North American Flyball Association. Find your club in your state, in your area. And that sounds like fun. It really does. I know it looks like fun. It is chaos, fun, but it looks like fun.
It's fun chaos. But I definitely did not realize the time and the And the good thing is it's not very expensive to get into. Like we have our club dues. We host 2 tournaments a year, and they're in December and February at the Florence YMCA. And you can also look at different on the tab on the website. You can look at different tournaments in certain areas. So if you just want to go to one and watch, it's definitely something to experience before you start, because that's the end goal is you want to go to tournaments. So if you go to a tournament and you can't deal with the dogs barking, it's probably not for you because they bark constantly. And
Okay.
and it's good to see how your dog reacts in that environment. Some dogs just can't handle it. They can't focus. They don't want to be there, or they just get too jazzed up. They can't handle the excitement in the air.
Yeah. So for a scale, for an idea of how big is and how heavy is Piston and your girl?
Piston is a little under 20 inches. And he's about, I think he was 71 pounds, which I try to keep him leaner. Rhea,
so how many inches you kind of cut out?
19 and
okay,
and 3.
Okay.
So he's a taller boy. And then Rhea, she's a little shorter like her mom, because I wanted something a little bit smaller. And she's 60. I think she was 62 when I took her to the vet. So I keep her leaner too.
Yeah.
And then Cleo, we're not going to talk about Cleo. My husband said that's the best one, but she keeps the couch warm. She doesn't in the house. And
that's a job too.
Yeah, that's a job. And emotional support when we get home. And she is, I think she's probably 18 inches. I haven't measured her, but she's a good bit shorter, and she's about 68 pounds.
Okay. So having a dog that you want to keep a little bit leaner, but still have the high energy, the drive to do its job, its task, its game. What does their diet look like?
So I've tried the supplements, I've tried the extra stuff, and I think a lot of that stuff is just genetics. Because Piston didn't come from the best breeder, but I knew the dogs stayed outside. They didn't have the best diet, and they looked great. They had black coats. They were super shiny. So I do Simparica Trio every month, because where we live at, you just can't. It doesn't matter if they live in the house. You can't go without heartworm preventative. So they get Simparica Trio once a month, and then they're on Victor High Energy, which is a pretty low protein, low fat. It's a 24/20. So I worry about high protein for kidney function. I've heard that high protein can damage kidneys after an extended period of time, and they don't need it. I mean, and it depends on the dog. Like Cleo, she probably doesn't need that much fat, but it's just easier to buy one bag. But they're on a. Yeah. I think it's like 412 kilocalories per cup. And they all get 1 cup in the morning, 1 cup in the evening.
Okay. I used to eat Victor too. I liked it because it was all stages.
I know they've had some issues with some people's dogs, and most people that have fed it, they fed the teal bag, which is a very high protein. But I've not had any issues. I've been feeding it for probably 10 years. And I never saw a change when they changed the formula, so I'll just keep feeding it because that's what works for my dogs.
Yeah. Okay. So just a regular dog diet works for this.
Yep, just kibble.
I like it. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we need to know. What else do we need to know? So, to kind of recap, make sure I got everything. We got North American Flyball Association. There's a place you can look for clubs. Start with the turn. Actually, start with a dog that's suited for it. That you see the ball drive, the play drive, the energy level, stable temperament, and then work on the turn.
Yep. The turn is the biggest thing.
You said just the board on the floor, basically, to turn in that area, and then slowly elevate it. And then add the hurdles later, huh?
Yep. and then you just add one at a time, keep it consistent, and like you'll work on passing. So we do side by side recalls. Oh, a recall. A recall is probably more important than the box turn. You always want a solid recall, because sometimes they just
That's more
lose their
important
brain.
than anything with dogs.
Yes, the recall.
Yeah, recall is number one. Yes.
Yep. And so, like, they can't run until they're 18 or 15 months old. It used to be a year old, but a lot of dogs are breaking down at a young age. So they changed the age requirement to 15 months, which Ray had just turned. So, and she had 5 months off too with the baby. So she missed out on a lot of like hard training. But I did have to make myself kind of slow down on her training because she is a heavier breed. So the high impact, I kind of had to be like, Hannah, she's doing good, but you need to back off a little bit to let her joints, because our breed is more prone to hip dysplasia and elbow dysplasia, and that's constant repetition of high impact. So you really have to be careful, and it's breed dependent. Yeah. Like smaller breeds can handle it a little bit better, but our breed is so heavy, so it makes a big difference.
Yeah. My dogs do like spring pole, things like that, and like I still don't. They say wait till they're about 2 years old before you fully hang. I don't let them hang. Keep my feet on the ground. And punch and pull and drive up the legs is fine with me, but I don't let so same thing. I agree with you. Let them go slow, take your time. Yeah.
And that's joints, why,
because once things start going bad,
you've damaged that foundation.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, like with Rhea, because I started her so young, like she was doing mat time, which is every tournament has it on Friday nights. It's where you can fine tune little things with your dog that you need to just kind of like beat in their brain a little bit. You have 5 minutes to work on. And so she was doing mat time, which was just recalls with one of my teammates holding her and me being 10 feet away from her, and just recalling while other dogs. She's never had an issue with another dog beside her because I've done it since she was 10 weeks old. And so there's a lot of things I've been able to build on with her that is because I did such a lot when she was a puppy.
Yeah. Okay. And this is something you're breeding for. So somebody that wants to get into this can look up mechanical bulldogs and either maybe a puppy, maybe a waiting list, maybe something, but you'll have some information, some right direction, something.
And another thing is I'm probably never going to be a big breeder. I have semen frozen on him. So if I have a hiccup in my program or God forbid somebody gets PIO, I have some breeders that I do recommend and I would buy a puppy from myself, just because they're breeding for the same, structure, health.
Right.
And a big thing for me is I know a lot of people, I do both OFA and pin hip because they look at two different things. And it helps you kind of get an idea. And our breed doesn't have a high passing rate, and our DIs are pretty high for our average. But it's something to look at and not wash a dog because, they don't pass something when the whole dog as a whole is good breeding quality. You just need to make sure you pair it with a dog that is better.
Stars rise, claim our field.
Uh-huh.